Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Bike Chat. Had a little bit of behind-the-scenes glitches to work out. I want to give a big shout-out to Blab Stud for helping us out as well. Thank you to Just Another Cyclist, our friends Ross for hanging out, Tommy K in the Hizzy. Hey, Joy, good to see you as well. And, of course, Magnus coming on to give the razz to Mr. Dan the Man. Gunner, by the way, thanks for bailing me out as well. I had a little weird glitch going on, but what is going on in beautiful Rochester, Minnesota, by the way?
Oh, we're getting ready for a heat wave. Supposed to get up to like 90-something tomorrow and I think Saturday too. So get ready for that. That'll probably be coming your way after it hits us. So
I love it.
Nice riding weather.
I love it. I will be sure to pay attention to your Instagram feed, and I'll get the Zinca and the non sun. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But well, hey, couple great things you got going on. As I said, we'll try to keep this show pretty tight because we're on a little bit of a timeline. But I think you were telling me you just got a new bike. You were giving shout outs to Trek on your blog. And what do you got going on there? I think is it almost up and running? I think it is.
It's pretty much built up. Spent a little too much time adjusting derailleurs on it last night, but it should be ready to go.
Yeah.
I just haven't actually taken it out for a ride yet. Tomorrow should be the maiden voyage of the Superfly Carbon Hardtail. So.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
We'll audience definitely stay tuned. Give Gunner a follow. Anello Grande. Also, his vlogs are pretty awesome. You want to subscribe to his YouTube channel. That would be awesome. Don't forget, Bike Chat is also on Facebook. Stay tuned with all the latest and greatest upcoming episodes. And most importantly, tonight's guest is Dan Staffo. Dan has been a Rochester native for quite a long time, and I've certainly spent plenty of time racing with Dan in a number of different capacities, but he's well-versed on road, he's well-versed on mountain bikes, he's well-versed on fat bikes. His claim to fame is cyclocross. So, Dan, thanks a lot for toughing it through the technology aspect of things. Welcome to Bike Chat, and what's going on? How we doing?
Well, thanks for having me. Not much. Just got the technology straightened out there, but
it's okay. It happens.
Yeah, right.
So again, it's not quite full swing summer. We've had a bunch of local gravel series things going on. I mean, obviously, there's probably going to be a sprinkle of mountain bike races going on both regionally and nationally. But I understand that you're getting much more sharpened and focused on your cyclocross efforts. But I guess before we kind of get to that part of the story, how did you kind of know that cycling was your thing? I mean, did you just wake up one day like, man, I'm just gonna rip it on a bike, or was that something you wanted to do, or you'd always been involved with cycling? I mean, just give the audience kind of a little bit of a quick, bio of the Dan Staffo experience.
Well, I started racing BMX as a kid. I did that from, probably 4th grade up until 8th grade. Got out of racing BMX and bought a motorcycle. Raced motocross for quite a few years. Stopped racing motocross and then bought a mountain bike just to stay in shape. And then the mid 90s started racing bikes up in, mostly Ellicottville. And then I think I bought a road bike in 2000 to train for mountain bike racing. And I just kind of fell in love with the road and spent, after 2000, I didn't touch a mountain bike again until 2009.
Yeah, that was nice.
It was a while, and I got back on a mountain bike, yeah.
So do you feel it's beneficial to be kind of a one-trick pony, a specialist, or as I said, I notice now you've become much more homogenized with your efforts. Again, you did a bunch of fat bike races, obviously, quite a bit of cyclocross, of course. Do you feel that it's beneficial for athletes, i.e. cyclists, to have those skill sets, in their bag?
Yeah, well, so it's weird. I've been fortunate. I've had success at all of them. Road,
Definitely.
cyclocross, mountain bike. Some, a lot of guys though, it's either one or the other. They don't, just because you're a good road cyclist doesn't mean you're gonna,
Right.
you're good on a bike or and cross. But I just like to be out there competing. I don't know. I'm very fortunate to have had success in, all three.
Nice.
But,
Hey, Gunnar, have you tried cyclocross, by the way?
I've done like the local practice race series. I haven't done the actual USA cycling races, but yeah, I mean, I don't have a cyclocross bike, so I just use my mountain bike when I go out and just have fun with the guys. Basically, top guys are training, and I just go out there and hammer it, try to keep up with them for at least a couple laps.
Fair enough. Speaking of keeping up with them for a couple laps, now Dan, you have you're a father. You have two beautiful daughters. You're obviously you work full time. You balance a lot of things out. Now I know that for the listener audience out there, by the way, thanks again for tuning into Bike Chat. Is number one, how do you do it, or I should say, how do you balance out like that work, play, life balance? Because I know that's something that personally I'm dealing with right now. And I know that's something that Gunner's dealing with. I mean, we'd all love to, piss off and be able to ride every day for hours and hours on end. So I guess, for the audience out there, where is that fine line with, man, I want to be competitive, but at the same time, I want to be realistic and not start tapping into that relationship bank with, with the spouse or the family or the kids or whatever.
Right. Well, you got to find that balance, and you got to maximize your training with the time that you got. I mean, I use a power meter, and it helps me maximize my training. So I don't go out and do a lot of junk miles. So when I'm out on my bike, I'm out there with a purpose most of the time. And then when you're done racing or training, it's not come home and I'm too tired, I'm gonna put my feet up on the and sit down. You got to man up and do this stuff that keeps your kid happy and your significant other, stuff like that.
Now you said junk miles. I love that. I'm gonna try to steal that. I mean, I think Gunner's he's definitely a specialist, and that I know a lot of times, in his situation of his employment, he's able to utilize his schedule to get out and get that token lunch ride, right? So, obviously, let's talk about that. That's a good example of not obviously junk miles. I mean, here you have somebody who has a window of time to carve out that's going to work for their schedule and their time and to be able to ride. That is, would you agree that that's a good time to be able to apply those practical, miles or that application in regards to what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you only got an hour, you got to, make the most of it. If you're going around, if you got an hour and 15 minutes to ride and you're just going out and tooling around, and, sometimes a lot of times I don't even know if I get a proper warm up in. Where I ride for 5 minutes and then, it's not optimal, but,
Fair enough.
You got to get the work in,
Fair enough. That's definitely, that makes a lot of sense. And then what about, you'd mentioned, as far as training, you're talking, by the way, Gunner is like a super tech geek. So when you're starting to throw out the power meter thing and stuff like that, he's all over that. He's getting all jazzed up. So I guess, talk to the audience about that. I mean, how valuable is that of a tool, number one, right? And then number two, like what are those gems or those morsels that are the value add of why you're doing that? That makes any sense.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, I think the power meter, for anyone who's debating on buying one or thought about buying one, it's the best tool you can buy. I mean, instead of spending money on another set of carbon wheels or another a new frame that's going to take a quarter pound off your bike, save your money and get some sort of power meter, because it really does help you maximize your training. Especially with, with everyone's lives being busy with, working and children and, kids sports and all that.
Sure.
So for me, I think, power meter is the best investment you can make, for the time crunch cyclist,
Gunnar, do you have a power meter?
I don't have a power meter. That's definitely something on my wish list coming soon. I still use heart rate, but I mean,
heart rate
I was gonna say that. Well, that's Gunnar. I didn't mean to do that. I was kind of setting you up. I was setting you up for that. That's actually where I was going with that. So yeah, no, keep going. That's awesome.
No, you get the same philosophy, right? You get your threshold, whether it's heart rate or threshold power, and you try to base things off of that, whatever your workout is. If you're doing, I don't know, sub-threshold intervals or whatever it is, you use that, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I've definitely had past experiences with heart rate monitor, and I do feel it's valuable. I think the one thing I would agree with Dan on. I mean, had I had the opportunity to do it differently, I think I would try training with power. I feel like the hard part, for me is just, where you're at. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, the heart rate monitor is always like all over the board, where I think the power meter was a lot more true and consistent to where you're at. If you're riding the same ride and your wattage is like way off, clearly there's something going on there, whether you're fatigued, you're tired, or, whatever the case is. I've also noticed, and Dan, you could probably talk to this, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, this is maybe sort of where Gunnar and I are at, is the point of entry to invest in a heart rate monitor, right, is substantially less. I mean, whether it's a virtual, whether it's a watch or those kinds of things. Has it gotten to the point where trying to invest in some means of power capture for training for cycling has the cost come down as far as the offerings that our listener audience could maybe take advantage of, or they may think about for future upgrades or whatever the case is?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first I think there was like the power tap and an SRM.
Right, big money.
And now there's much more. They got the pedals out now. The corks. They got a nice unit out. There's a lot of different options. So I think the price for power meters are definitely coming down. You see a lot of used stuff. Good quality used stuff online too. Yeah. Because everyone's always upgrading, and you can find something, quality, use something, of quality easily.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's actually, that is a good point. There's certainly some advantage of that. So now, Dan, I think you had alluded to something in a couple of our conversations earlier over the past couple of weeks. Now, I know you're big on, obviously, it sounds like you got your discipline and your regimen and your gear and your equipment pretty much dialed in, and now you're starting to kind of take things to the next level. And listener audience, this is probably where you may want to start tuning in and paying a little more attention. What you want to share with the audience, what you have kind of in the works? I mean, we're not going to roll it out like today, tomorrow, but I guess maybe share as a teaser a little bit with the listener audience, and kind of how they can find out, get connected with you to find out a little bit more about what you have going on.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to start, maybe start taking on some clients, coaching, for specifically for cyclocross.
Nice.
Was thinking about putting on maybe a clinic this year at Dryer Road at some point in August. I'd really like to see, help younger people who are getting involved in cross. I'd like to share the knowledge that I've, have gotten over the years with, some younger people. So, if anyone's ever interested in talking to me, they can, send me an email, staffo.dan@yahoo.com. And I can certainly, we can talk more, but it's just something it's in the works. It's still figuring out a lot of the little things how to get it going up and going. But yeah, it's something that it's that I'm looking to do.
Great, perfect. Well, that there you go. It's definitely good to know that is an option, and I'm sure a lot of folks can certainly take that into consideration. Now, what would be your advice for somebody that maybe is on the fence, that might be that weekend warrior, that might like that guy, that like or gal? Right? There we go. Hey, so we're back on the air with Bike Chat. It's been a strange evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Joe Deepscali with you with my fantastic co-host, Gunnar Soros. Yes, we're going to put Dan's email in the comment section. It was Dan. What was your email again for folks listening about the training?
Staffo Dan at yahoo.com.
Okay, Staffo Dan at Yahoo. Yep, perfect. All right. Hey, as I said, apologize about that glitch. The bridge for kind of where I was going with that, we were talking about folks that, maybe weekend warriors, maybe aspiring athletes. Magnus is in the house. I'm sure he could benefit from sharing some of his wisdom. By the way, the seat is open if you guys want to jump in. We're certainly open to fielding questions as well. But what would you say would be the benefit for, okay, let's put Gunnar and I on the spot. Like, we could be potential clients, hiring you out to work with us. What would we expect to get from you as far as value add and some things that we could get out of hiring you on to train us to do cycling?
Well, I think I got a lot of things I can offer. For one, I got a degree in nutrition. That's what I went to college for, so I can certainly help with diet and nutrition. I've been racing cross for quite a few years now, and equipment, equipment wise, I know what works and what's worked for me. Training, I know what kind. I've done every intervals I think is imaginable. So I found what works the best for me and what how hard to push. Cross season, a lot of guys they just go too hard during the week, and then come the weekend, they got no gas. So through experience, I can help them. How to gauge their efforts during a week, month. It's, just stuff like that. The stuff that I've learned over a course of racing for quite a few years now.
Hey, Dan, these guys don't need any help riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
This guy right here, on the other hand, I need some help when it comes to the whole.
What else? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You there?
Yeah. So I'm the one that kind of needs some help when it comes to the whole cyclocross deal. What would you say to me to get me to roll? Can you hear me? You guys cool? Can you hear me?
So I can't hear you.
I hear you, Tommy.
Oh, Dan can't hear anybody.
Yeah,
I'm hearing everybody.
I can hear you, but I don't think Dan can.
I can hear you. I just can't see anybody anymore.
Dan, can you hear me or no?
Uh-oh.
But I can hear everybody.
Dan must be using his phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you can hear everybody, but you can't see us? Is that what you're saying?
How about?
Yeah, he is. All right, he jumped off. All right. So anyway, we'll have to have him type it in the comments. But what Tommy was asking is what would be, some of the advice that you give for, I don't want to say like the average Joe or the average Tommy, but what would be, that 2 or 3, tidbits of wisdom that you give out to customers kind of listening now to say, all right, well, maybe racing is not necessarily my thing, but I'd like to get, a little bit more involved. Like I know Gunnar, for example, Gunnar sets some goals to do a couple different events or races, so that keeps him riding and training. myself, if I can, I try to set, an event, at least one or two, if I can get out to do one. I mean, would that be an example, or could you give some other ideas to the audience of ways to be motivated?
Anyone, you don't have to be a full-on racer every week. You can, it doesn't even have to be cyclocross. If it wanted to be road and, you're going to do the Tour de Cure or whatever, I could, steer people in the right direction, and, how to prepare themselves to, finish a ride, that type of ride, or, or such.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Fair enough. That's awesome. And so what are your future plans, ramping up to this year's cross season? I mean, you've certainly, stepped it up and become much more aggressive. But let me actually hold on a second. Oh, here you go. Tommy said, what do I need to do to prepare for cyclocross race? I guess what training needs to be done, and what would you advise? I think we kind of talked about that a little bit, but Dan, I don't know if that seems like kind of an overlap with what we've just talked about, but maybe if you want to kind of maybe just
right now,
recircle with what you were just saying a few minutes ago. That was a question from Tommy.
So far. So I've just been riding a lot. Next month I'll start doing a few more road races. So if you're into mountain bike racing, you can do some mountain bike races. You start ramping up the intensity. August I'll race a few times. But tone it back too. So you don't want to go into a cross season, over raced. So you want to continue. You want to try and continue to build through cross. That's all. What my main goal is to, not be over raced or over trained going into cross. So I just kind of ease into the year. This is a long season, especially if you're going to be doing nationals, which are in January. You can't. It's not possible for the human body to carry a high level of fitness from early spring races until January. So you got to pick your poison. To kind of ease in. Yeah.
Wow. Sure. And that's a big one too. Ross from Just Another Cyclist. He's like, how do you recommend working on cyclocross specific skills, mount, dismount, portage, stuff like that? Doesn't that happen on road, or doesn't happen on road or mountain bike? Question mark.
Yeah, I kind of got it a little bit broken up, but you can. Do
you get that, Dan?
You can go over in a park on an easy day on a rest.
Okay, so
set yourself up some barriers and just practice dismounting, getting back on a bike, smooth, clip back in, and back up to speed. What I like to do is, like in August, a lot is I'll take my my cross bike and go ride in the woods. Go over to drier road where it's not a lot of rocks or roots where you can flat. But I'll just go over there and I'll spend an hour or two in the woods just riding around, getting a feel of the bike. Which is nice about dry road is they have an air pump over there. It's attached to the facilities over there that you can ride over there with your tires good and hard. And then when you get there, I'll let some air out of my tires, so get used to riding around in the woods on lower air pressure, and then I'll pump my tires back up and ride home. So it's nice. You're not riding home on soft tires that you'd want to use for training or racing. That's the one thing. Start riding. Don't wait to cross season to start riding your cross bike. Get out in August and go in the woods and ride around and get the feel of the bike. That to me, that's definitely helped me is spending more time on a cross bike, not just out riding on a road with the cross bike, but like I said, riding in the woods and even on fire roads, works.
Right. Sure. Right. And what about in regards to like Gunnar, what he was talking about before, like let's say maybe these folks, that don't necessarily have a cross bike, or even in Gunner's case, he just decides to jump in and race a cross bike or a cross race with a mountain bike. I mean, that's obviously still something that makes sense as far as, getting people to kind of get the gist of what's going on. Or what would you recommend?
You don't got a cross bike, if you got a mountain bike, don't have no bar ends on it. You can, take the bar ends off and hop.
Did you get that?
A cross race with the mountain bike. I think that's how I got involved. I started racing cross. I didn't have a mountain or a cross bike. Excuse me. I just used my mountain bike and see if I would have liked it, and it works. It's a lot. You still see, especially in the local races, you still see guys jumping in the races on the mountain bikes, and yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour. Gunnar, I don't know if you've any additional questions or comments for Dan. I turn it over to you as well. I know I've been kind of rambling on quite a bit, but
what's driving you to go into this coaching, or what's motivating you, or what does motivate you to do what you do?
Coaching, I've been doing it for so long. I've been racing and riding and training for so long now. I just kind of want to start giving back to the sport. I want to see it grow. If I can help out some younger people, even, anyone who's just getting involved in the sport, and, I like to give back and see cycling grow. I root for new riders. I like to see people do well. And that's what's driving me to start getting into some coaching and stuff like that, is, just to help the sport grow. The sport's been so good to me and it's helped me live a good, healthy lifestyle.
Right. Nice. Well, and so what do you think are some of the challenges to bringing new riders, and especially younger riders, to the sport?
Well, it's challenges I would say is, everyone thinks, well, I don't say everyone, but a lot of people think, cycling's expensive and, this, that, or the next thing, but, it does have, it can be kind of pricey to get involved. But I think, once you get you get a bike and you get some equipment, as long as you maintain that equipment, it's it's not all that, pricey if you think about it, yeah. So hope that answered your question. I don't know.
No, I think so. I mean, it's the perception of the expense.
Right.
Yeah. What do you? I got a question for you, Dan. What are your thoughts on the recent push of a lot of like high school and or collegiate cycling teams? Like we're definitely behind the bell curve. At least I know here in the East Coast, and there's some places like up in New England that have those types of teams. I mean, how significant of a paradigm shift do you think that would be if all of a sudden high schools and colleges were to adapt that type of mantra?
I think it'd be great. It's I'm not really sure how to go about getting schools more involved in it, but like Victor, I could see it's it's like the perfect scenario there. I think Victor schools do have a mountain bike club, maybe, I think. But they got Dryer Road right there. It's a beautiful facility, tons of nice, easy flowing single track. They got that pump track there. I would love to see schools, local area schools get more, involved in getting people, schools, the clubs, even if, it don't have to be a team, but, just clubs and getting kids out riding. the GVCC's they've done a nice job with getting.
Sure.
Good. How are you?
Young stuff.
Dr. Corey, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining by chat. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
Very good.
Good. In
Dan's
regards
like
to,
freezing
thank you.
there. Sorry.
I used to
Hey, Dan, there
do
you go.
biking a lot when I was younger, but in the health field, because I used to be a personal trainer too, but I'm not a coach. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think when there's 4 people on this, and Dan can't hear.
You can hear me? Okay. I was just going to ask you, what kind of supplements do you guys use
I can hear you.
for your performances when it comes to biking?
Okay. I'll type it in the comments. Hey, Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, supplements.
I'll type it in. I know he's tuning in from his phone. So what type of supplements?
I don't use them. I take a multivitamin a day, and that's about it. Some people believe in supplements, and that's all fine and good. But me personally, I try to eat a balanced diet. That's where I get most of my nutrition is fruits and vegetables, that type of thing. And I do like to eat like after a race. I'll immediately drink like a Boost or an Ensure or something. That's a good way for me, I feel, to get some protein and carbohydrates back in the system quick.
I was just wondering because the celebrity biker who they were find out that he was doping, right? I was wondering how come athletes, they do not keep on with the natural supplements and things like that. Why do they go through these artificial type of activities?
Beats me, I don't know what pushes people to come to cheating and doping and stuff like this. Is that the question he's asking me? I'm not. It's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what. Causes.
You're heading the right direction.
Gives people the the idea. I'm not sure. It's not the mentality or mindset I have, so I don't know.
You guys are competitive bikers, or is it just a conversation about buying a bike, or what?
Well, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, again, Gunnar and I we're mainly recreational. We do some citizen racing, but Dan's definitely more along the edge of competitive.
Artificial kind of a way that he was going about it to win these competitions. If that was the reason that he got cancer and he lost one of his testicles.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I could kind of field that one. There's a lot of rumors that point to that suggestion, and it's very well plausible that it is. But, without any real direct evidence, it's hard to say for sure. Me personally, I think it could have something to do with that. But I don't know when he started with his doping program. To me, it would seem like he started early in his career. So to me, I think that did kind of lead up to it. I don't think he's ever come out and said that he doped way back then. He just kind of said he doped from, 90 after he got cancer is when he kind of fessed up to him. So who knows? I mean, I guess ultimately only he knows.
Yeah. Well, I am in the network marketing that I do, it's designer supplements that are all organic and stuff. And these are things that now with the gene supplementation has a lot more advantages than what people go about. Like even when I was a bodybuilder in my 20s, I used to take more than 50 vitamins every day in order to keep up with the strenuous activity that I was doing. But now, gene therapy is something that athletes could do in order to take less and get more result. I was wondering if you guys, any of you have explored any of these other ways of going about having a competitive edge?
Well, we really haven't. And hey, listen, Dr. Corey, I don't mean to cut you short. We are a little bit over our time.
Thank you.
I would love to, maybe catch up with you offline, but thank you for coming in. We do appreciate your time and questions. We're going to wrap things up, but in the meantime, as I said, you're always welcome to come on back, and certainly we'd love to maybe have you on as a guest sometime in the future of Bike Chat. But appreciate your time, and again, thank you for joining in. All right. Well, listen, again, appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much for joining us. We are over our time aside of the technical glitches, but I do want to give a big shout out to Dan Staffo for joining us this evening. Hey, Dan, you are a special guest. You do have the final word. Any shout outs or kudos or last thoughts that you'd like to give out to our Bike Chat audience this evening?
Race Solutions. That's the team I'm riding for right now. And what Velo Race Solutions does is Ryan, who's the owner of the team, he provides neutral race support at races. So you can hire him on, and he will, he'll have wheels and spare wheels at the races for riders to use, or if they need some quick maintenance done on their bikes, he does that. And it's I feel like a lot of promoters have found it to be a real nice service. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's a nice service to offer at their races, and it's a nice service.
Nice. Awesome. And what about what particular bike company are you riding for this year? I know you've been the jack of all trades. I mean, it's hard to tell which is your favorite bike. I remember you racing Kona for a while back in the day. Ended up who's
right now I'm my cross,
what's your bike of choice?
My cross bike's a Raleigh, and it's my I like you said, I rode them aluminum Konas for years, and it just goes to show you that you don't need to have the greatest and best up-to-date equipment available. Last year, it's my first carbon cross bike that I bought, and it's working out good. I like it, and I like the geometry. It's good and light, and I was kind of hesitant at first for carbon for cross because I was, if I break it, but I've gone head over heels a couple of times last year on that bike, and it, the frame held up, no cracks, or so it's good. I'm impressed.
Perfect. Excellent. Nice. Well, listen, it's been great having you on the show. As I said, I apologize that you had a little bit of a challenge getting on, but we do want to extend an open invitation to have you back on Bike Chat as a guest anytime there's anything you want to kind of shout out there to your audience, or you got any announcements, don't hesitate to contact either Gunnar or myself. We'd love to have you back on the show. Wish you the best of luck in your upcoming season. I'm sure that I'll be out there rooting for you, cheering for you, or announcing that hopefully an event this coming season. And in the meantime, hey, people can find you. It's at Dan Staffo1 on Twitter. Yeah, appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Gunnar for hanging out. Appreciate your time. Hey, by the way, his revised craft beer blab schedule. We're skipping June, and we're going to
That'll be July 5th, the day after
first
Independence
Tuesday
Day. So
of
we'll
July.
be talking
is that correct, for
probably
craft beer
about
blab?
American beers. Possibly, we could all be drinking Budweiser branded as America or some other American beer. Yeah, America. Yeah.
America. Perfect. All right, well, listen, I also do want to give a big shout out to the Bike Chat audience. Thanks, Ross, for tuning in. Thanks, Joy. Thanks, obviously, to Dan. Thanks, Tommy K. Good to see you. Also, Jonathan Perez, thank you for your time. Thanks for tuning in. D. Dones, good to see you on the show as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight's evening edition of Bike Chat. My name is Joni Pasquale and Gunnar Soros signing off. Thank you again, Dan Staffo, folks. We will see you next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel.